One. Well, hello, everyone. Mac Atkinson here, along with my co-host Judy Dinsler, and we want to welcome you all to the 2024 autumn, which is the time of the metal element. There's been so much buzz and so much talk recently about nitric oxide that Judy and I wanted to focus a little bit with you today on the importance of nitric oxide, what it does in our body, how we can develop it better, and just share with you a little information that we found about this key element. Before we get started, though, we are going to talk a little bit about some Sunrider food. So I want to remind everybody that none of the information provided in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. So what is nitric oxide? Very simply, it's a gaseous molecule composed of one nitrogen atom and one oxygen atom, easy for me to say. Despite its simplicity, it plays a crucial role in many physiological processes in the body, which we'll be talking about in a minute. It is a free radical, which means it has an unpaired electron, making it highly reactive and able to interact with various other molecules. Now, in the body, the amino acid L-arginine is what changes into nitric oxide. So one of the products we want to talk about, or I just wanted to mention briefly, is MetaBooster. And what's the key ingredient in MetaBooster? L-arginine. Now, for me, nitric oxide became really important in my life. Oh gosh, Judy, probably 20 years ago. And I've shared this story with you many times, and as I've shared on these calls, but I think it deserves repeating again. And frankly, again, 20 years ago, my father had just passed away unexpectedly from congestive heart failure. And I was on one of my first, actually, Sunrider International trips traveling with Dr. Chen. And we were actually in Rome, Italy at that particular time. And I remember sitting across the lunch table with Dr. Chen. And for anybody that's had a meal with Dr. Chen, he always pulls out his baggie with Sunrider capsules and stuff in it that he takes before every meal. And within his baggie, I saw at this lunch two white capsules in there that I had never seen before. So, of course, being curious, I asked Dr. Chin, what is that wonderful white capsule in there? Tell me a little bit about that. And Judy, he got this very solemn look on his face, and I can still remember it to this very day. And he looked at me in all earnest, and he goes, "Mac, I'm so sorry." And I'm going, "Dr. Chen, what are you sorry about?" He says, "I am so sorry that I couldn't develop this formula a year or so ago, because had I done so, your father would probably still be alive today." So again, that was the first time it really made sense to me what he was talking about: meta booster, L-arginine, nitric oxide, and what it does in the body. And I think that's probably a pretty good segue, Judy, to ask you what piqued your interest in nitric oxide, and maybe you can share with us a little bit about that.
Well, Mac, first of all, I just want to say we all miss Charles. He was delightful, and
For real.
oh, perfect smile and sparkly eyes. So,
Yep.
I guess what piqued my interest was because I really didn't, I thought it was good and all that, but I never really researched it or I thought it was more for athletes or
Hmm.
to peak their performance.
Mhm.
But more recently, and over the last few months and all, I've been more interested in the microbiome, like most people are, the gut brain connection,
Right.
which led me to a podcast on Alzheimer's and type 2 diabetes and how nitric oxide was so important in those things. And because Alzheimer's is the number one feared disease
Yep.
by everyone. And then, of course, type 2 is 78% of Americans, and even in school age children now. So, definitely a rising concern. And so, as I got into it more, I thought, wow, where have I been? And I found out, as kind of illustrated by the picture showing, is that every cell needs to have nitric oxide, needs to make its own, hopefully. And but more prominently in the nasal cavity and in the lining of the blood vessels, the epithelial tissue, it's called. And that actually plays a role in relaxing the blood vessels, so which lowers blood pressure. It helps the blood not be sticky, so it won't form those dangerous clots. And most importantly, it can deliver, life-giving oxygen, nutrients to all the organs of the body. So, I mean, who knew? I certainly didn't. So it's a newfound interest of mine. I'm seeing how it affects some of the things I've read about, how it affects the nervous system, how it affects, particularly what was fascinating is the wait a minute, not the parasympathetic, yeah, the autonomic nervous system. And because most of us, especially over the last few years, operate in the parasympathetic, the fight or flight. We see so much anxiety, so much emotional panic and different things. And again, that's what's missing. And so I'm just really excited about that. It also affects mood and cognition. And then also even the immune response, because it fights pathogens. But then again, tying it back to the microbiome, not only in the mouth, but in the gut, and just great for the whole body. So I'm excited about it.
That's so cool, Judy. And absolutely. Like you, I hadn't realized the impact that nitric oxide has throughout the body. And I mean, you've shared already how it impacts us in so many different ways. And, from my dad's situation, it was the vasodilation aspect, opening those arteries, getting his heart working, those kind of things. What I was kind of most amazed was that I hadn't realized that it was a neurotransmitter as well, and how it impacts the other areas of the body, communicating with cells at all levels of the body. I mean, what an incredible thing. And the fact that we have a product like Meta Booster with the first key ingredient being L-arginine, which converts to nitric oxide in the body, is remarkable. And Judy, we'll talk in this next little bit here about some of the other things and how we can obtain nitric oxide in our bodies. And there's a lot of ways to do so. But I'm excited not only about Meta Booster, but some of the other Sunrider foods that will help us in terms of their high antioxidant content and the ability to generate nitric oxide within the body. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now and what each of us can do to maybe build up the nitric oxide in our body with Sunrider and table foods and other things that we can do in our lives.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep it brief because we're going to add more down the road, as we'll explain. But because we do need the high antioxidant, UPS, there's some more Meta Booster.
There we go.
Yay. So in addition to the Meta Booster, which I love because, again, it is the philosophy of regeneration. It's not doing for the body what it needs to do for itself. It's not going to weaken it, only strengthen it. And some of the supplements out there do just the opposite and don't really make a difference. Just like the isolates in vitamins oftentimes do not really make a difference in how you feel or your overall health. So adding an antioxidant, as you mentioned, is key. And I'm going to choose Energy Plus. I've been adding that with my Meta Booster because vitamin E is one of the highest antioxidants. But again, with the food base, it's absorbed well. And also, the interesting thing about foods, and it's right in time for autumn, is our beets. And I love beets, but I don't eat them daily. I buy a bunch and I eat the greens. I eat I do it a variety of ways, but then I maybe won't do it again until next week or a week after. So I'm so thrilled with the new beetroot powder. And so I'm incorporating that as well. So those are my three things that I have increased and adding to my normal Sunrider regime. And as far as actual food, table foods, it's interesting. The ones highest in nitrate are the ones that will produce the most then in your body nitric oxide. So, and it's the ones with the deep colors. So the deep greens, that's, of course, kale. We all like kale, but arugula.
Do we?
Well, well, you aren't doing it right if you don't. I love that stuff. And so there's arugula and there's other things. But interestingly, celery is very high in nitrates. In fact, it's one of the highest. And I thought that was odd because it's kind of pale. But unfortunately, that's a reflection of the soil
Mhm,
today.
mhm,
So that's why we have to eat concentrated amounts
mhm.
of these things. And radishes was a surprising one to me. But then again, the vibrant color, which
Right.
beets have, the root vegetables are usually darker and richer in color. And
Uh-huh.
those are the foods to eat during fall. How about you? What are you going to add,
You know,
Matt?
Judy, I have always been a fan of the greens for sure. Now, for Joey and I, we tend to lean more towards the spinach and those kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
as the kale. But I was only teasing about kale. We do incorporate that one too as often as we can.
Okay.
But you know, when I was looking at the overall foods that help that are high in nitrates and help in generating nitric oxide in the body, uh, I'm sorry, but the what I had to gravitate to was the dark chocolate and the cocoa, okay? Because
Oh, way to
those are
go.
favorites. Other ones would be things like green tea and stuff too, which again, we're very
Mm-hmm.
familiar with as Sunriders. And, you know, over and above the food, there are other things that we can be doing. I mean, obviously exercise, sunlight, etc. And you know, I threw this photo up on the right mainly because I wanted to talk a little bit about the power of community. And we've seen that in so many areas recently, even within Sunrider. I mean, it wasn't so long ago that we were doing a 30-day walking challenge, and we've done challenges within our 5 element group many times in the past. Have done them actually a year ago or a few years ago when the Hungarians wanted to do a walking challenge. We monitored their walking, and they actually were able to walk from Budapest to LA for convention effectively. So again,
That's
there's so
great.
many great ways that we can build nitric oxide, and the power of the community is, I think, really is what helps us to accomplish a lot of our goals. And Judy, I think this is a pretty good segue to something we want to just kind of finish with today, and that is we are going to throw out there a little NO challenge for everybody, if you will. Okay. And again, this is part of the community thing that we'd like to get everybody involved with. And what Judy and I have come up with is, again, a challenge associated with using our 5 element cycle to wellness Facebook page. So if you're not part of that page, please let us know and we'll get you part of that page. The challenge period will basically run over a 4-week period from October 21st through November 21st. What we're asking everybody to do is to post a minimum once per week on the 5 element page specific to nitric oxide, the food you're consuming, what are you drinking, other NO related recipes, other activities associated with NO production, anything that you can think of that would be relating to nitric oxide use or production within the body. That's what we want to see and hear about. Again, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be huge, but show us that you're paying attention and you're posting at least once a week to this thing. We also like for everyone to check out the page. You don't have to post every day, but at least go to the page once a day. And if you see Judy posting something, or Cheryl or Finn or myself or one of the other team members, like it, comment, share it. To let us know that, again, you're reading what's out there that we're putting, because again, folks, Judy and I were very basic in terms of what we provided in terms of information today. The detail is going to come with a lot of the posts that we're going to make on the page. So that's why it's important to check the page out. We want to make sure everybody is incorporating Meta Booster into their daily Sunrider usage for during this period of time, during the challenge period. And we also want you to choose 2 additional Sunrider foods that you may be consuming already that are part of this NO challenge and it will relate. And Judy, I think you mentioned what, Energy Plus and the beetroot powder that you're going to include in addition
Mhm.
to Meta Booster. For me, it's obviously going to be Meta Booster that I've been taking. And I think, you know, I'm going to start incorporating daily maybe something like Vitafruit, which is super high in antioxidant. Meta
Excellent.
Booster, or Meta Shaper, I should say, you mentioned earlier, is another one with the resveratrol content that's so high as an antioxidant. That may be another one. And of course, I'm into the ERB beetroot powder too. So I play with that one also. But that's just at both. I think if you look back, you're going to find a lot of things you're already consuming are good for building nitric oxide in the body. So again, post about that. Show us which 2 you're using and why. The rewards for this thing, obviously, better health. Okay, that's what we're all looking for. Judy and I want to let everybody know that everyone who participates is going to win in this program. We're not going to define that for you right now, but just trust us in the fact that if you're liking, commenting, and sharing, if you're doing your 1 post a week, if you're participating with us, everyone is going to win. And the person that posts the most, makes the most comments, likes, and shares is actually going to earn a special prize at the end. So, Judy, anything you would add to this that you just want to share with everyone?
Well, I thought you did great. That's a good synopsis of the challenge. I just want to add that Fortune Delight is a powerful antioxidant, and you mentioned green tea. So it may be something you're already using,
Mhm.
or something that you've been wanting to try, and you look on the fact page and see that, it actually is very high in antioxidants, more than I thought. So please choose what works for you, because you can't lose with this because, hey, Sunrider is plant-based.
That's right.
So, so just do you. I think that's what this challenge is about. Add the meta booster, but each person tailor it to something with themselves. The competition is with yourself.
Absolutely, as it always is. And Judy, to your point, if it's something, let's just say you haven't been using Energy Plus for a while for whatever your reasons, okay, and you choose to do that one, you never know. Look at your reward point total. Maybe you can actually get that bottle for free. But again, folks, make sure you get Meta Booster in stock. Make sure you're looking at which other foods you're consuming right now that you can post about that will increase nitric oxide. And please come play with us in this thing, because we're going to
Yes,
have fun, and we'd like for you to be able to join us. And Judy, I guess that's the best way to kind of end this thing is nitric oxide challenge accepted, huh?
absolutely.
Right
Accepted.
on. Right on. Judy, thank you so much for sharing with us about nitric oxide and how it impacts the body. Again, we're doing something a little bit different this month, and that we're not all coming together as a group and providing general information. We're going to pick 4 or 5 very specific topics to the season. So this is one, and there'll be more to follow. And Judy, as always, thank you so much for everything you do and supporting all of us.
Well, thank you, Mac, for making it all happen. You always are so supportive and figure out how to make all the ideas work. I love it.
There you go.
Thank
Well,
you.
that's the deal. Well, look, everybody, thank you. And until the next call, we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.